What is up, Harry Ford? Thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to know you. We'll talk baseball, some faith, and an awesome trip that you got to take a few months ago. But I do want to start with the question that I ask all my guests. It's what are you all about right now? So it could be really small, something silly, or it could be something really big. So what is Harry Ford all about right now?
Man, all about right now, definitely Jesus. Definitely just like growing in faith, growing in a relationship with him. I'm trying to follow him as best as I can.
Yeah, well, hey, there's not much to say there. It's like the most perfect answer. I think everybody should be all about that. I got to be more all about that. I love it. But there is something that I do want to ask you about. It seems like I don't know if it's hobby. I don't know if you're trying to do it, totally on the side of baseball. But I've seen some videos of you playing guitar. When did you start playing
Yeah.
guitar?
I've always really loved guitar. I remember like even really young, I always wanted to play it, but just never did. And then we had a guitar last year, like at the field, and I just started trying to play it, and Uh, I ended up figuring out a little bit, and then, but really, but what got me was I went to my friend. One of my friends was having a Bible study at his house, and like to open up the Bible study, they'd have someone play guitar and everyone sing, and it was like just the most beautiful thing. Like it felt like you were, it felt like heaven was opening, right?
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, man, I want to be able to do that. And so that like kind of like motivated me a little bit. So I started playing after that and I got my own. But I haven't been playing too consistently. Like I just kind of pick it up and here and there and just, at night sometimes play a couple songs, but just a little hobby.
It's a really good life skill to have. I lived in Nashville for a couple years and it was like you had to know how to play guitar. And so the best thing that
Yeah.
one of the best things that ever happened to me was my parents getting me into guitar lessons and I carried it on when I moved to Boston. I will say I'm not that good at all. I could probably play three chords. So no one asked me about it. But what is your favorite or like the best song that you can play?
I think like if I just oh, I really like playing How He Loves Us. Uh that one and Gratitude. That was the first one I learned how to play. So like those two are like kind of like my rotating. If I pick up a guitar, I'm playing one of those probably.
That's good. I feel like if you just know a song that people can sing along to, it's way better, right? Because then you're not
Yeah,
alone in it.
they all of a sudden think you're a master if you just know one song.
That's good. Well, I did want to ask you about that because I did see it on your social media and I think it's really cool. So if anybody's listening and they think that they should maybe pick up guitar, this is your little tip to
Yes,
pick up
pick it up.
guitar. I love that. Well, you got drafted by the Seattle Mariners in 2021, which is so fun for me because I was born in Seattle, spent 10 years there, got to do a summer with the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm all about the Washington area. But it seemed like you went right from pro and you didn't go to college. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was definitely a trip. I mean, like, I wouldn't say I was prepared the most for it. Like, it was really exciting thinking like, oh man, like I get to go straight into baseball every day and like no school and everything. It's gonna be awesome. And I'm like gonna be on my own and like it's gonna be great. But it was definitely a different reality once getting there. And it quickly like I don't know, like it was hard. Like I felt like I got into a bunch of temptations and a bunch of things I shouldn't have been getting into because of the how like the tough that it was hard and being alone and stuff. But I'm thankful for it because it ultimately led me to pursue Jesus because I feel like he found me in that moment because I was so like searching so hard for everything else. And it was just an awesome time. Well, awesome. It was just awesome getting to know him and meeting him. But like I thought I knew him before, but then I felt like I really met him then. And so that's the road that he led me on. He made me go to Modesto, California, and then Everett and all these places where I, no idea where they were before. And he met me there, and it was really special.
That's cool. I love that you just said, like, I thought I knew him, but then I really met him because I think that just paints like our relationship with the Lord so well. It's literally like a friendship, right? And it's
Yeah.
not just like some dude in the clouds. Like, I love that. But I kind of do want to elaborate a little bit on what you said. Like, I was in California, then I was in Everett, now you're in Tacoma. Like, baseball takes you a lot of places. So, when did you know? Because this is like, you're going to some random places. You're from Georgia, now you're on the other side of the country. When did you know that you were not going to go play college baseball and you were going to go straight pro?
It really wasn't like it was like it felt very sudden at the end. Like I was committed to go to Georgia Tech, And so I was playing on that. But then my last summer I had playing a travel ball, it kind of like I don't know, I started just I don't know if I hit like a I don't know, growth spurt or like or what. I just started getting really good or like at least getting
You started
recognized for
balling
it.
out.
Yeah, it was really out of nowhere, and I started climbing the rankings. Like by the end of the summer, I was like, like top 20 player in the nation, and it was like what the heck? I remember when I started seeing like the mock drafts in the fall, and it had me to go in the first round. That's when I was like, oh shoot, like I might actually like not go to college. Like I didn't think I'd ever be on there, but I was on there and it blew my mind. So that started kind of when it started becoming a reality for me was like the fall prior to the draft and then the high school season too, which it was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that seems like it all happened really fast, and there's, I think there's pluses and minuses too. Like kind of like you said, it was like a lot all at once, and you're on your own. And initially, you thought it'd be, all of something. And so, I just would love to know, like, when you were in that time when you have this huge life change, and you're kind of in the in between of, really knowing the Lord and knowing Him more so, just meeting Him. What like really helped you during that time?
I mean, it was all him. I mean, like, well, at least it started with that. Well, it still is. I mean, but at the start, what my transition was, like, I thought I knew him, and I got into pro ball, and I kind of, lived life and did all these things that, a Christian shouldn't be doing. And that was indulging in every vice, whether it was, weed to porn to sex, all these different things. And I felt the Lord start tugging on me at the end of the season, and he kind of gave me an ultimatum. He was like, "Hey, listen, like if you really like, I'm gonna give you a choice. Like you either choose this or you choose me, and you can only go one way." And so I started, letting go of those things and choosing him. And but then after that, it was like he started opening the door to like certain people in my life, especially in the Mariners organization too, who were really, centered around faith and certain churches and certain pastors who just like, just for some reason or another decided to try to help me on my journey and reach out to me a bunch and still today. So like I definitely say like um the the like relationship with him, he's the biggest help, but also the people that he's put in my life to help mentor and disciple me has been the biggest blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just first, thank you for like sharing all of that, because I think it's so hard to like kind of stray from the path that feels like everybody's doing it, right? Or just kind of really follow the Lord. Like it's hard to be a Christian. It's hard to like surrender your life to Him. And I think when people can say, "Hey, like this is kind of what I was doing, and now I'm walking with Him, and it's so much better," like I think this is really going to lead other people to the Lord. So thank you for just sharing that. And it's so cool to hear that you have that community in the Mariners system. So what did that maybe look like a memory that you have or a moment that you're like, man, was it a specific person that you feel like really introduced you to a church, and what does that really look like?
For me, like I don't know, I've always just been kind of like a I look it up on Google, close my eyes, pick it. Okay, that's where God wants me to go.
I've never done that, but maybe I need to start, as I'm a really indecisive person sometimes when it comes to like the little things. So maybe I need to start doing that, the closed eye.
No, I get you. I don't recommend it, but that's what I did at the time, and I've done it a few times and it's been fruitful. But um, yeah, I think what it comes out of is just like seeking after him. Like he says, like those who seek after him will find him, and and he will love them, and he will reveal himself to you. So when I look back, I think of the times where I've like found a church or found a person was just like coming from a place of like feeling like I just absolutely need him
Mm.
and seeking it out. It's like but it's funny how he works because it's like you're not seeking him out of your own power. He's giving you the the spirit gives you the want and the will to seek him out, but then he connects all the pieces, um like I said earlier, like I feel like the men that I've had in my life, especially a certain few um who have been introduced to me and have just text me all the time and reach out and stuff like that, those relationships have really come from him, and it's helped so much.
That's so cool. And I feel like when you get poured into from like someone who's older than you, specifically like even on your team, because that relationship is on the field, it's off the field and locker room, but then it's also on a faith level, right? And so I feel like when you get poured into, now you're going to be like more excited and rejuvenated to pour into the younger guys who now come behind you.
Yeah, you definitely do. I've also been blessed with a lot of guys too who have like not even on a faith wise, but like just a like living life as a pro baseball player have like been older and really poured into me. And I have a guy, one of those guys with me now, and it's such a blessing. I mean, you can't there's like you can't it's I almost feel like you can't go without it, you know, and it really motivates you to help someone else and to pour into them, and you know, because that's what you got.
Yeah, it's important too because sports are really intense, right? And sometimes you just need people who you know are going to be in your corner regardless and help you through the new things. But I would love to ask you because you're now in Tacoma and you're a catcher. So when did you know that you wanted to be a catcher?
Oh man, I've always caught. Like I started catching when I was like 8.
Oh, wow.
I always played third base growing up too, but like I went to a tryout one time and they didn't have a catcher, and but they had gear, and I just remember putting the gear on and I was like, this feels awesome. Like, and ever since then I just wanted to catch because it's like you're in every play, you're doing everything every time. And so like ever since then I've been catching, and it's always been my favorite.
So you literally put the gear on, you're like, yep, this is for me.
I was like, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be.
That's all. I love that. And what is just right now in your life? What does a typical day in the life look like?
A typical day looks like uh waking up, like spending time with the Lord in the morning. Uh then depending if it changes if we're home or away. If we're away, you get a lot of time in the morning. So like kind of go out and get some breakfast somewhere, like explore. And but home, make breakfast, and then get to the field. When I get to the field, I normally do like scouting reports and look up the other hitters on the other team, go through that, do movement prep, get your body ready, get in the training room. That's normally like the first like 2 hours at the field is hour, maybe like hour or 2 hours is doing that stuff. And then you go hit in the cage, and it's kind of like normal practice, and then the game after. So it's the same thing every day.
Yeah. But there's some nuances too, I bet. And I would love to ask you this because there have been some athletes that I love to ask, like, hey, like what's one piece of advice you would give, younger athletes who want to be in your position one day playing pro baseball? I probably won't be playing pro baseball, but I would love to know for maybe the young guys who would someday love to be in your position as a catcher specifically. What's like a baseball thing that maybe you do as a form of cross training? Maybe it's a way that you prep when you're scouting, batters and all the things, but what's something that you would feel like has really elevated your game?
Man, I would say two things, but they're honestly, it's not like a baseball skill sort of thing. Like I'd say one is trust, just putting your faith in the Lord. Why I say that is because like if you're looking at just from a baseball view, like the amount of times I've like prayed for a coach, or like prayed, not understood why like my swing feels the way it does, or like why my glove feels the way it does, like all these things that like are baseball questions, and bringing them to God. And like he answers every single question. He cares so deeply about every thought you have when it's like feeling what your body feels like, or why your throw feels the way it does, and like everything that goes on in the game, he cares just as much about as you. He probably cares even more. And he loves to answer those questions. And that's been where my biggest help has come from. And also and just growing a relationship with him, because you're being more intimate and telling him what's on your heart, like for real. And but I would also say too, uh, is like surrendering to him, because so often like we're not our best player because we're holding on so tight to the result, to a feeling. We're chasing after barrels and after homers and after these successes that aren't meant to fill you up. And it's a daily battle. I mean, I'm guilty of it every single day. I like it's definitely something you have to fight hard against. But surrendering to him and knowing that he is your cup, he is your where your heart is, that when you're in him, you're found, that it genuinely like that the when you surrender to him and you surrender to his love, it frees you up out there. And it doesn't get you so locked in on feeling like you have to be perfect and be the best and be all these things. It actually can help because it helps motivate you to work harder unto the Lord, like Colossians 3:23. But it doesn't, it takes away pressure that's like all on you, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been where my biggest help is. I'm really not the person like if you want like how do I hit or how do you catch? Like, man, I don't know. But like
I feel like you know, but I think this advice is a lot more important for sure.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what's helped me the most for sure.
Wow, well, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And I do love kind of what you said, the second piece of advice, because as athletes, you have very tangible and real like successes and failures, and like it's right there in front of everyone, right? And so I think something that helped me a lot was not my mom telling me kind of right when I got to college with my sport was like, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. Like, the rings and the championships will one day also fade, right? But like nothing's as bad as it seems, right? And the Lord has you. And so I love that advice because you can find a lot of comfort when you're doing really well in your sport. You can kind of like ride that. But the moment that
Yeah.
like you strike out or you get cut or something happens, you get benched, like whatever it is, you can't let yourself crumble in that moment. So that was great. Great two pieces of advice.
Thanks. What were you were an athlete? What
I
did you
was.
do?
So I played lacrosse at Boston College and it was amazing. So I grew up in Seattle. They didn't really have lacrosse while I was living out there. So now you'll have to tell me if there's a lot of lacrosse out by you. But and it really wasn't until I moved around a few places and started to fall in love with the sport. I tell a lot of people I played AAU basketball, travel hoops, and I loved it, but like it just did not choose me. And so when I got a lacrosse stick in my hand, it just came a lot more naturally to me. So anyone who's starting a sport late, it's okay. You can still work out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, Harry, I'd love to ask you about a really cool trip you got to go on with Water Mission to Peru a few months ago. How did this trip come up?
It came up. I went to PAO and it's like a conference for baseball players who are into the faith. And 2023 they had a presentation about Water Mission, and it really just struck my heart because it's an organization that helps people out in the world who are going through the global water crisis, and they also help spread the gospel to these areas and help kind of like the church, like kind of facilitate the growth of the church there. And it just really struck my heart, and so I was really interested in the Oregon and kind of seeing what they're about. And then the next year, I was like mid-season, and I was honestly kind of just going through it, and I was like, man, I just want to go on a trip somewhere in the off season. And I looked up, and my mind went to Water Mission, and then I found the trip they were going on, and I decided to sign up for it.
That's
And it
awesome.
was it was an awesome experience getting to go. It
Yeah.
really
And what
was.
did you do while you were there?
We went to four different communities. It kind of went from like the first one was like no help from anybody, only the government, and then the last community was completely restored and like funded by Water Mission,
Mm.
and uh it was just like so eye-opening, like seeing the differences and seeing what life looks like without water and what these people go through on a daily basis, and learning about their culture. And it wasn't like a hands-on like we're like fixing things, but like it was just a trip of seeing what their lives are like. And it was very eye-opening to just see these people and see what they go through and how
Yeah.
different it is to us. Oh,
Well, it's really special that you decided to go on that trip too, because just with your own schedule, like there isn't a ton of downtime, right? Like you only get so much vacation time as an athlete and time to be away from like the gym and training and the
hmm.
field. Like, so how did you feel like what was like the importance to you of going on that trip? Because I know for me, there were even some Christian retreats that I wanted to go on in college or conferences. And I was like, I don't know if I can go. Like, I got to be at the gym. Like, I got preseason. I got my front test coming up. How did you feel like the importance to really take that step and use your free time to go on this trip?
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I just needed to do something different. Because like I've always been like that too. Like I've always like putting baseball over everything and wondering what's next and what training I have to do. And so I literally was just like, I'm taking the first month and I'm just gonna do whatever. And because it's a long season, and I don't know, I feel like I just needed a break, and so I went on a bunch of trips. I went there, I went to visit my family in England. I went to this conference, PAO conference. Like I just tried my best to chill out.
Well, you did it all. You were everywhere, really. Oh, you were all over the map. That's so cool. And I do love how you work with Water Mission because something that's been a huge part of my life is working with an organization very similar called Charity Water. And they bring safe and
Hmm.
clean drinking water to communities also all over the world that don't have access to it. And I got to go to Malawi with Charity Water years ago. I think I was in like sixth grade. And it like totally changed my perspective on number one, learning more about the water crisis, but then also like just like the Lord and like how I see people. Like there was no difference between me and the young girl who were the same age that was walking to get water like hours a
Hmm.
day. She couldn't go to school. It's a dangerous trek. Like there are wild animals, there are people like like there's a lot going on just to get the water for her family. And so I think that really opened my eyes to just have this perspective of like I'm no better or like there's nothing that I have done to deserve like being born in a state in a country with clean water, right? In an area with
Yeah.
clean water. And so that was a huge takeaway for me. So I just would love to know like after leaving and being back home, like what's one of the big takeaways that you had from that trip?
Uh, I think it was when I got back, it was just weird looking at like the neighborhoods, like and just seeing like you literally like I mean for us like a normal house is a normal house, but it's almost a mansion. It's like compared to everything out there, and like because the housing and the way people live, it was just like little shacks. And I don't know, it was just crazy to look at our lives and see that like man, I have a sink downstairs with a toilet. I have a toilet upstairs and a sink. I have two bathrooms upstairs with two sinks upstairs and two showers and water, a hose outside, and like there's just so many different places for water just flowing everywhere. And we go to some places and the way they get water for everything they do in their life is through a truck, dropping off water for them to put in buckets and take it to their house and store it. And like it was just mind blowing to see that. And then another thing that was kind of crazy was uh like I felt like the people there had more joy even though they had no water. And it was just wild because I felt like they they I talked to one of the tour guides that we had and the way he explained it to me, like you know the passage where Jesus is saying like don't worry for anything, like even the birds, even the like your father knows every hair on the bird's head, he knows the sparrows, and he knows this, like don't worry about what you'll eat today or drink tomorrow. Like um he said for them that prayer is very literal,
Hmm.
where when it comes to like because they said they wake up and they don't have food stored or water stored, and they're trusting on the Lord for that every day. And they see how he provides for them every day with food, enough water, and the things that they need. And that was mind blowing to me because I thought about the same passage, and we just don't relate to it.
Yeah.
Where like we're not like praying for food tomorrow and praying for water tomorrow, and like we're praying that a baseball game goes well, or that we just grow in relationship with Jesus, which is great prayers, but like it was just mind blowing just to see how different things are there.
Yeah. And I bet it just strengthened your own faith seeing people be so dependent on like necessities, right? In that
Hmm.
sense. And yeah, I mean like that's just whoa, it just like kind of blew my mind too just to think about it. Like the real dependency that you have on the Lord is that was so real in front of you, right? Like it was just, and I love that your tour guide like kind of gave you that little insight because it's really special. But I would love to just talk about what you're doing now with it because you're doing something really cool called Swinging for Safe Water. Can you tell me just like
Hmm.
how this came about?
Yeah, I was just what was I don't know. It just was an idea that I had. It just came to me, and uh I thought like, man, it'd be really cool to bring God into my games, and like just have a purpose for every swing, and so I just got the idea of, if we just every homer donate some money, I know a lot of people do something like that, and I just thought it'd be really cool, and I could like get the word out, but also support the ministry through that, and also get some motivation to hit some homers.
Yeah. Hey, that's great. And how many do you have so far this season?
I got one so far,
Okay, let's
but
go. That's the
we're
hardest
going.
one to get, the first one, right?
Yeah, it is. It actually is. Then they come.
That's so
But
great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you're doing that, like based off of like you're taking actionable steps too, like right after that trip. And I think what's cool is like you're being a great role model in a sense for like young athletes to see like, hey, look at what like the Lord has gifted me with this talent to hit home runs, and I'm going to use
Hmm.
it like to do good and to point back to an awesome organization like Water Mission. So I bet that's, a little stressful in the sense too. You're like, I gotta hit these, but it's also super fun and super cool. And just alongside that, I hope that you hit a crazy amount of home runs this season so that Water Mission can get all that attention too. But do you have a
Yeah.
favorite just, baseball memory looking at your pro career so far?
In Pro Bowl?
Yes.
Man, I would have to say one of my favorite ones would be like in Modesto. We played against Rancho Cucamonga, and for whatever reason, like the whole week, like it was just like we had like those games every night that are just intense. And I remember like our first game, we came back in the last inning from like 8 runs down or something, and like and like, we had a 2-out rally for the century, man. It was amazing. And like we had a game like that. We had a few other games that were just like come behind games, and it was just a special week that like just one of my favorite weeks of baseball ever playing. Uh, and we had an awesome team, and it was just fun.
That's awesome. Those are the best games when it's just like you're fully in it and you all love your teammates too. That's always a highlight.
Yeah.
Has there been like a funny moment or something that you're doing with your teammates in Tacoma right now that you guys are all about?
Man, I'll be honest, when it's off the field, it's like everyone leaves.
You're like, I'm sleeping. I've spent too
Everyone's
much
like,
time
all
with you guys.
right. For real.
Yeah,
That's kind of
no,
that's kind
that's
of what it's
real.
like.
Yeah, that's real. No, I totally get that, especially when you're in season. It's very different, but I think it's fun. I think those are when you look back on your athletic career. For me, I'm considered retired, unfortunately, but like you, yes, I think the hard moments in the championships, like those, like definitely stick with you because of the intensity of it. But it's also those fun moments that you have off the field with your teammates and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, those are awesome.
You did mention England, and so I do have to ask you because I did see that you got to represent Great Britain in some baseball
Hmm.
tournaments. So, who's your connection to England?
Both my parents are born in England, and so I'm like I'm a British citizen and everything, so I got in pretty easy with that. I got connected through one of my coaches in Seattle a few years ago because he was a coach for Great Britain, and so I got in through that, and it's been awesome experience being with them.
Super cool. So, you now basically have Georgia ties, Washington State ties, and England ties.
Yeah, the whole world.
You're all, and technically Peru, because now you're like, fighting out there for water
Yeah,
mission.
yeah, for
I love
real.
it.
That's
That's
awesome.
that's awesome. Well, you're covering the map, Harry. That's incredible. And I just want to ask you one last question before we wrap up today, and really just want to encourage people to cheer you on in your career and follow along with your home runs this season because it is really exciting. But before you play, before you take the field, do you wear headphones or no headphones?
Man, like it changes, but most of the time, no headphones now. Because it's like I'm just doing other stuff. Like it used to be, I had a lot of time to just be like get headphones and stuff, but now like I'm like in a meeting and like doing other things, and so but my pregame ritual right now is drinking a nice green tea.
An ice green tea or a nice
No,
just green tea?
nice green tea, hot green
Oh,
tea. It's amazing.
a
That's like
hot
my
a
favorite thing.
hot green tea before the game.
Yes.
And how did that come up?
I went, so we have a Japanese guy on our team, His name's Shintaro Fujinami, and we went to a sushi place one night, and the people were amazing. They knew who he was, so they like gave us all this extra stuff.
Oh,
And at the end,
great.
they brought us some green tea, and I tried it. I was like, "Yo, this is fire!"
Have
And
you never
he,
had green tea before?
no, not before then. No, have
You
you?
have English ties. I feel like tea is like a thing there too.
Not green tea though. They drink
Okay,
like
true. Like
it's
different
like
tea.
black and milk in it. Green tea is not English. It's something else. But man, it is really good.
It's so funny to me that you drink a hot green tea too, because like it's gonna get really hot out soon here this summer. And you're gonna probably want an
It's
ice.
worth
Have
it.
you okay, have I'll put you on something. Have you tried ice green tea?
I've had the Starbucks one,
Yeah,
the
okay.
matcha.
Well, if no, just ice green tea, not the matcha.
Oh, then no, I
Totally
don't think
different. So
so.
try it. If it gets too hot, try that in the summer. So you have a hot green tea before every game. That's your routine.
Yeah, that's my routine right now, and I love it. Like I'm looking forward to it today.
That's so awesome. Well, I hope that helps you in your game. I hope it'll get you a home run and it'll be a really fun day. But that's so funny. I guess, hey, listen, I guess that's another thing you're all about or something you guys are doing off the field is drinking a lot of hot green tea.
Yeah, maybe I should put that in my Instagram bio.
Yeah, hey, you never know who can sponsor you for that. So I love that. But Harry, seriously, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm like so pumped to point people to you and to follow your career and just highlight what you're doing with Water Mission. So thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.